Hey guys, Zen here, and Year 7 is the next full year of content for Rainbow Six Siege, and it could be the most important year of Siege to ever launch. More than anything, the morale for Siege has been at an all-time low. Make no mistake, there are still millions of players logging in and out, but the community has been thirsty for truly exciting updates, and Year 7 is an open opportunity to blow the top off this incredible tactical shooter. And so, we're getting into 5 updates. The new operator for Year 7 Season 1 is beginning to make an appearance online, and it's sounding very interesting. Also, the entire gaming industry is in a heated debate over this crazy new announcement, and a brand new game mode just wrapped up in Siege, and there's been tons of feedback for it. Let's get into this. But first, install buff.game. Guys, Buff is an authorized app for Overwolf, and it makes it super easy to play the games you already enjoy and earn buff points, which you can redeem for some incredible rewards. And it's easy to get started. Just download Buff with the link at the top of the description, and after you sign up, it simply runs in the background while you game. Each time you open it up, check out the challenges. Once you complete them, you'll get more buff points, which you can redeem for Steam game keys, gift cards, and in-game currencies for games like Apex and Valorant. There's even a leaderboard where you can see how you stack up against the rest of the buff gaming community. You can see what tier they're in, as well as how many buff points have been earned. And of course, if you're wondering, it's virus-free, malware-free, and there's absolutely no mining. Now guys, over 2 million gamers have installed Buff, and there's people earning points every single day. And so click the link at the top of the description and go download Buff completely for free today. Personally, I think it's easy to get started, and it also doesn't affect game performance, which, as we know, is key. And so thanks to Buff for sponsoring our video, and let's get back to it. So Ubisoft landed in some hot water recently, and to some, that may sound like an old tune, but this time, that fire burned extra hot. Ubisoft announced Ubisoft Quartz, a new program that will introduce NFTs to some of their games, and they announced it would first be coming to Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Now, if you haven't noticed, YouTube recently dropped the dislike count from all videos, and so you can't see how many dislikes are on each video anymore, but people have been using a backdoor API, and the announcement video for this had a mammoth 95% dislike rate, and people were very vocal about the distaste for it. So I know NFTs are a fairly new concept, and not everyone gets it, so I'll be brief and give you the rundown. Essentially, NFT stands for non-fungible token. It acts as a one-of-a-kind digital token that's a part of the wider blockchain. This blockchain is a network that basically keeps the receipt of all these tokens and knows who the original owner is, what it's valued at, and most importantly, its unique code or serial number, so that if it's traced, there's no spoofing its authenticity. It obviously goes much deeper than that, but that's the spark notes. Ubisoft announced gear in Breakpoint that would feature all of this stuff. The gear would have a unique serial number, it would know it was specifically you that bought it, and you'd be able to put it up on a marketplace that, in theory, they would host and be able to sell it to other gamers. Given that this gear would be a one-time release and limited time, the value could go up or down, and so it almost gives it stock. And that's roughly how these crypto markets make money. And guys, I'm gonna be honest with you here, there is the potential for this to be huge in gaming, and it's not stopping with Ubisoft. Ubisoft is just the first major AAA publisher to reveal this plan, and because they were first, they faced the brunt of the rage of the community. But if you really think about it, gaming has been headed down this road slowly, but for many, many years now. Microtransactions got this same response, and EA actually got slammed for originally adding micros into all of their games, but now the entire industry is doing it, and it's a part of every single free game in the world, and no one really even notices anymore. But there's the bigger question of if crypto-like mining even belongs in games, and to that, I've got a pretty controversial hot take. So if you look at all of the game skins or battle pass unlocks that you have in Siege or in many other games, what does that do for you today? You bought it and you own it, and sure, you've got a nice digital closet for all the characters in these games, but once the new battle pass comes along, you repeat the system. Well, what if you could take those same skins that you've accumulated over the years and put them on a marketplace and sell them to people who never got the chance to own them? Now, what if that skin or emote was involved in an event that made history or became the next viral meme? What if you could trace that exact item back to you and you could benefit from that? Now, look, I know some flack is coming, so I'll brace up, but to me, I don't know, a marketplace where gamers can buy and sell from other gamers is a new concept, but one that kind of makes all these one-off purchases a little more valuable. I won't be the guy that says NFTs belong in games, and I've never mined or bought into this stuff, and I'll also say that maybe Ubisoft pulled the trigger too early here, even if it was announced as a beta. But first, I want to direct your attention to this gentleman, Peter Molyneux. He introduced the world to Milo for Xbox Connect, if you're old enough to remember, and is now working on a new game that's entirely built around NFTs and the blockchain. Not a feature or a marketplace, but an entire game dedicated to this stuff, and this is a huge deal. So guys, yeah, this is an inevitable next step for the gaming industry, and with the craze behind the metaverse and a one-world currency, this crypto stuff is just getting started. Next up, Flubber, the code name for the first operator of Year 7, and man, what a name. A leak in the script for Year 7 has revealed an operator with the code name Flubber, and everything points to a big reveal at the 6th Invitational 2022. Now, recently, Ubisoft confirmed that the rollout for Year 7 would continue on the same path as Year 6, and a lot of people took that as the exact same kind of year. But what it really means is one new operator each season, a new event, and a new map offering. For Year 7, though, there are some things confirmed that changes up this formula. So for Year 6, they released all reworks for the maps. There wasn't a single new map, and for Season 3, they actually buffed up a few maps. But for Year 7, they mentioned a hybrid model. Both reworks and new maps should be featured during the Year 7 roadmap, and this is something players have been brutally waiting for. As for Flubber, the gadget is rumored to be called the Kaiba barrier. Now, with Year 6 Season 4, we got a defender, and so an attacker should be next for the first season of Year 7. Osa was the last attacker and brought the Talon 8 shield, which kind of acts like a barrier, and so to double up on that and go back to back seems a little too soon, but that's really all that's been talked about. Now, of course, the big reveal will take place at the 6th Invitational 2022, which is usually sometime in February, and there will be so many people anxious to see what's next for Rainbow Six Siege. Next, at number 3 is the team deathmatch that was in Siege for a brief time. Now, TDM has been a request basically since the beginning. Like, of course, the tactical edge to Siege is the bread and butter, but people have always asked, what if I could go in and just shred through everything Call of Duty style? And so they did just that. In the test server, they added the warm-up game mode, which is full-on TDM in Siege. And the crazy thing is, if you wanted to, you're not restricted in operator selection. If you want to go 5v5 all Ash versus all Jaeger, you can do that. They've added it with 3 maps, being Theme Park, Villa, and Favela, and alongside it, they laid out the new test server plan. So every new season will be announced and then brought to the test server as normal. Then they'll introduce a lab server that features new things that are actively still in development. Think activities after death. This way, if you want to try a new operator and get the full experience, but don't want to fumble around with an incomplete feature, you don't have to. And then, as usual, they release a balancing server with the mid-season stuff and new season prep. Now, all of this stuff is great, but honestly, there has to be more incentive to play in the test server, because after like the first hour of it being up, it can take hours to get a single game in there, even if there's a new operator. The player count in test needs a huge leap forward, because if there isn't something super exciting or totally game-changing, you're really just wasting time if you plan to try things out. But TDM was fun. Again, it is only a warm-up mode, so no ranks or really anything else on the line. It's mostly an aim training and another option over just training grounds, which will help some people because it's against other actual players. Next at number 4 is for Year 6, all of Year 6, because this was a year unlike anything else in Siege, and I think it's been the setup for Year 7. Think about it. Year 6 was kind of one big Operation Health, and they made more updates to the aesthetic of Siege than really any other time in its history. In Year 7, they won't need to spend time reconfiguring the test server. There won't be a big overhaul of the HUD and UI. They won't be spending loads of time on the operator album and card backgrounds, and yes, there's still a handful of maps to rework, but the pool is getting smaller and smaller. I think there's a big opportunity for them to focus on new content that's exciting and worth it for the player base, and less stuff for them to fix or rework. Now, one huge redeeming factor for Year 6 was actually the operators. All of the Year 6 operators were phenomenal in my opinion, and every single one of them are relevant and pretty good. Thorn brought a really good new submachine gun, and I think Year 7 will continue that trend of great operators. Now, the rollout for Year 7 will be the same. One new operator, one new map offering, whether that's new or reworked is still unknown, one event, and balancing updates. Confirmed. But I think the focus will change, and that's the important part. And then finally here, guys, is another elite. This time, Ace has got his own elite with the altruistic ego, which just proves how full of himself he is. But yeah, another elite ahead of both Monty and Castle. I just cannot wrap my head around why they don't have one yet. Same with Kaid and Nomad. Like, how does Ace and Malusi have an elite and Year 3 operators don't? I don't know. But that's the video. Guys, thanks so much for watching and for staying so loyal here. It's truly humbling. Until the next one, be sure to leave a like and subscribe with notifications. Hey, I'm out.